Yeah, so we just took 5 minutes because a few of them are new to the world of Zoom. So we just gave them that time. Great. Okay, let's get started. Good morning, everyone. And thanks for taking your time on a Sunday morning. And a very warm welcome to our webinar, Discover the Secrets to Unlocking the Power of Chat GPT for Your Career Growth. Okay, now this is Sabrish, guys. Most of you would have interacted with me or my team. I've been with AnalytixLabs since 2017, and I primarily take care of admissions and counseling here, and will be your host for today's session. Okay, uh, guys, whether you are new to the world of AI or just beginning your journey, this session is designed to introduce you to the fascinating capabilities of ChatGPT. Now, guys, this is a cutting edge language model developed by OpenAI. During this webinar, we'll explore the concepts of generative AI and its applications with a particular focus on ChatGPT, of course. We'll discuss how it has revolutionized natural language processing, the NLP, and its potential to enhance various industries such as customer service, content generation, you name it, and many more. If you have ever wondered how computers can understand the generate human-like text, you are at the right place, guys. We will demystify the inner workings of ChatGPT and uh, try to explain, of course, how it learns from various or vast amounts of text data, various data to generate coherent and most relevant responses. So guys, this session is divided into two parts. First, on the Chat GPT webinar topic, which I just explained now, where if you are even a very fresher, you haven't heard what is Chat GPT, this is for you as well. And that will be there for first 1.5 hours. Then we will go to the second session, which is a small demo for Python for data science. And the interesting part is we're going to show you how we can embed Chat GPT inside Python. I'm sure, guys, this is going to be interesting. Great. So before we start, we have some ground rules because we have many participants today. So since this is a webinar, we have request you to kindly attend the entire webinar since we have got a lot of things lined up. And if you have any questions, only do post it via Q&A option that is available for you. So when the speaker is presenting and probably going through the modules, only related to that, kindly ask so that he will take a pause and answer those questions. And if you have any career related stuff, I am there towards the end. I'll be happy to take. Now, for those people who are not comfortable chatting question and asking in the chat window or the Q&A window, we are also happy to take your questions. We can unmute you towards the end. So whatever questions are there, we'll be also encouraging there. Okay. Now, having said that, without further delay, let me introduce today's speaker. So we have with us Mr. Ramendra Kumar. Currently, he's working with Twilio as a machine learning expert. He's having more than 7 years of experience in various domains and over 4 years, around 4 years in data science. We shall allow him to give a brief introduction about his background and how he transitioned into data science. It's an interesting story, trust me, guys. And yeah, so over to you, Ramendra. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Sabrish, for getting our participants today started the session. I hope I am clearly audible, Sabrish.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. So welcome everyone to this session, and again, thank you for joining. The fact that all of you have joined today on a Sunday, that itself is a testimony to how interested you are and what kind of excitement you guys are holding towards this revolutionary topic of generative AI and Chat GPT and LLM and whatnot. There are so many terms associated with it, right? So let me set some context for today's session, and so that you are prepared uh, to start with this masterclass, and then probably I'll start with my introduction, and then we'll get started with today's agenda. So first of all, what is this session about? This session is about ChatGPT. It's very evident from the title itself. And then what we are going to do in today's session is we are going to understand what ChatGPT is and various terms associated around ChatGPT, which all of us are very frequently seeing in today's social media and everywhere, whether or not we are working in data science domain or we are working in any domain, all of us have heard about it at least. And even if you have not heard about it, I'm sure after today's session, you will have a fair understanding of what it is and how you can use it. That is one. Two, what are we going to do in this session is we are going to do, one, we are going to understand what is ChatGPT. That is, I think, going to be like 30% of the weightage. And then 60%, or I'll say 50% of the weightage will be on how do we use it? How is it useful? People are saying that it has revolutionized and we are in the middle of AI revolution. People are comparing today's times to the times when electricity was invented, right? But transistor was invented and the whole world changed. And we are sitting at that inflection point in the history of humanity. So how are we going to use it? Of course, we have heard about it. We have a lot of ideas in our head. Some of them are right, some of them are myths, some of them are telltales. But how are we actually going to use it? How is it going to help me? I'm working in marketing. How do I use it? I'm working in finance.
Ramendra, I'm very sorry. Your voice is muffling and people are telling it is very low. Even I'm also facing that.
1 second.
Yeah.
I'll just. Is it better?
It's actually muffling. So.
Is it better?
Yeah, you can continue. If anything is there, I'll let you know.
Okay. I think there was some disturbance in the background.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was talking about was that we are in the middle of an AI revolution, right? And everyone in the world is talking about Chat GPT, especially. And there are a lot of terms around Chat GPT, which we have heard, but we don't exactly know what they mean. Like, what is LLM? What is prompt engineering? Or what is OpenAI and how is it related to Chat GPT? Or what is generative AI, right? Or what is GANs? What is VAs, right? All of us have heard or read articles. We have seen videos from Instagram influencers, and all of us have a idea, but little muddy idea. So today's session, we are going to, clarify those things. A, B, we are going to learn how do we use it from an application point of view. So a lot of today's session is going to be hands-on, right? And it's going to be like a direction for you, where you can, after today's session, you can start thinking about how do I use ChatGPT, whether or not you know coding, whether or not you are from a programming background, whether or not you are related to any data science related field, does not matter. ChatGPT is for everyone. That is part B. And part C is we are going to actually also talk about programming language, because I would assume a fair bit of a percentage of the people who are present, who are participating today, are interested in Python, are interested in learning how to program, either for development or for data science, or you want to transition to some data related field. I would take that assumption, and we will spend some time around how ChatGPT is integrated with a programming language. And towards the end, probably we'll take a break somewhere in between. And towards the end, we are also going to talk about a programming language called Python and why is it very important. And that is also very hyped today, or we are going to see. And then also towards the end, I will try to show you how Python and ChatGPT can come together and you can start building things. In fact, even without Python, how ChatGPT can be used to start building things is something that we are going to cover. So that is a brief outline of what we are going to do today. There's a lot of things. I hope we are able to cover everything within time. So that is that. And then I'll give you a quick introduction about myself. My name is Kumar Ramendra. People usually call me Ram. And I am working as a machine learning engineer currently. And I'm currently working in communications, telecom field, where mostly I'm working with fraud detection and KYC and, risk scoring, those kind of things. And prior to that, I have had experience in healthcare. Prior to that, I've had experience in healthcare, where I've worked in research, and we have developed IoT devices, and we have, believe it or not, during COVID times, our products have helped save lives. It has helped, save efforts of nurses, and we have raised alerts which has helped doctors, pay attention to certain patients, and all of that has been done using data science techniques, the techniques that we usually discuss here in the institute with the students. And prior to that, I've had experience in business intelligence. I've worked in sales, I've worked in marketing, I've worked in ATL, BTL, event activities. So I have a varied experience. But why am I talking about my experiences? I would again assume there are a lot of people, and it's a common question that is being asked to me, is that I come from so and so field, and I don't have a engineering degree, or I am from a commerce background, or I'm from an arts background. Can I make a transition to data science? Can I become a data scientist? Can I become a machine learning engineer? It's a very common question that gets asked to me, and I feel that I am the right person to answer that because I have made that transition. I was working in a completely non-tech field, and I made that transition, and from a completely non-tech field to a data science, Python, and data engineering, big data kind of a field, which is a very, very niche technical field. But that transition is why I have confidence that I can probably help you if you have such questions in mind that, oh, programming is probably for coders, and these are the people who are having computer science degrees from fancy colleges, and only they can code, and how will I learn programming? So that is also one myth that I want to bust by today's end of today's session. So any one of you who wants to learn programming, but you feel that you are not adequate to learn programming, or you feel that you don't have sufficient background to learn programming, please, please be with us towards the end. And if even if you have questions after the session, I will be very, very happy to discuss on that topic. So you can keep your questions open. You can keep posting in the Q&A. And if you want to like talk one-on-one after this session, I'll be very, very happy to, be of any help to you. Right. So having set the context, let us start with today's session. So let me just share my screen. Okay. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone. So yeah, so today's session, like we said, we are going to talk about powers of Chat GPT. But before even starting with Chat GPT, we are going to talk a little bit about a little bit of background behind Chat GPT, because definitely it comes from a background of artificial intelligence, and there are some terms associated with it. And there is a very important term that we hear these days, which is generative AI. Like generative AI. There's already an AI. There's already an artificial intelligence, which itself is groundbreaking, which itself is very, very new. On top of that, today we are hearing something called as generative AI, and within generative AI, we are hearing about a company called OpenAI, which has come out with ChatGPT. By the way, how old is ChatGPT? It's very, very, very recent. The first version of it came somewhere around like maybe 4 or 5 years back, and then they have developed. And the ChatGPT that is commonly talked about, that is ChatGPT 3. And today, I think ChatGPT 4 has also come, which is available on OpenAI. I think they have made it free for everyone. So yeah, let us talk about what is powers of ChatGPT. But before that, let us look at some of the very common terms that all of us have heard about. So I think if you see this word cloud, all of you will be able to find something around ChatGPT that you have heard. Like artificial intelligence. I mean, of course, everyone knows about it.
Ramendra, yeah, can you put this in the presentation mode, because we are not able to see the full screen of the slide what you're presenting.
It is in the presentation mode, but I think it's not getting shared once again. Is it better now?
Yeah. Brilliantly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, so I was talking about these various terms. So what is artificial intelligence, right? And I'm not going to give you any bookish definitions. I'm not going to talk about mathematical understanding of what scientists say artificial intelligence is, but a basic understanding of intelligence is what humans have, where we can analyze a situation and take a decision, right? So if you're running a shop and someone comes and someone is trying to cheat you, based on your understanding, based on your prior experience, based on your lived experience, you're able to figure out that okay, this person is trying to probably cheat me. Or if you are in any kind of danger, you have a sense that you have developed over the years, based on which you can tell that okay, maybe I am in danger or somebody is trying to harm me. Such kind of intelligence is very, very unique to humans, which is the word intelligence, or we say natural intelligence, or how our brain works. Idea behind artificial intelligence is that how do we transfer that to a machine, right? And how does that happen? For that, we need to know that how humans learn. Human learns from experience. And what is experience? Experience is going through a lot of situations in life, which is basically, in terms of machine, we say looking at a lot of data, right? If I show a lot of images of apple and a lot of images to orange to a machine, and there is some algorithm which we are not going to talk about, but there is some system where it can remember that okay, apple looks like this is the color of apple, this is the smell of apple, this is the shape of apple, and this is the shape of an orange, and this is the color of an orange, this is a mango. And when you see a lot of apples, a lot of mangoes, a lot of bananas, end of the day you learn to distinguish between apple, banana, and mango. That is a very basic idea of how artificial intelligence works. And if you think about it a little bit hard, even we learn that way. Even humans learn that way. So that is the basic idea behind any artificial intelligence system, is that it looks at a lot of data and it helps and it then takes some decision. Now, there are two ways that happens, right? That can happen. Okay, this is the agenda of the session. I think we have already covered it. We are going to talk about what is generative artificial intelligence, how AI is revolutionizing the world. So if you look at this image, can you think about what this image is? This is the image of Indian cricketer Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Virat Kohli if they were a woman, if they were a girl, right? So this is like a revolution of how AI is working today. We are going to talk about how to use generative AI. I have already talked about it. And getting to know Chat GPT and its uses in our day-to-day life. And in the end, we are going to talk about Python, right? So I was talking about the artificial intelligence landscape, or what do we mean by artificial intelligence? So within artificial intelligence also, you have heard certain terms like machine learning, right? And what is AI, ML? People often write AI, ML, DL, deep learning. So where does all of this fit in? So I told you about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is where we impart an ability to a machine to learn from some given information to take a decision, right? And so far up till if you forget about Chat GPT and OpenAI, what they did few months back, up until then, whatever AI was doing, today we call it conventional AI or traditional AI. Whatever was happening, it itself is revolution, but it is happening at such a fast pace that something that happened 1 year or 2 years back, we are calling it tradition. So with that only you can gauge how fast this landscape is moving. So I want you to keep that in mind, how AI was being used up until now, and then what has changed with OpenAI's Chat GPT. Why it is creating such a revolution? What is different? AI was existing even before, right? So these are some of the terms. First is, of course, you have artificial intelligence, and a subset of artificial intelligence is machine learning, right? So artificial intelligence is giving machines ability to learn. When they are learning based on certain statistical methods, right, in the form of algorithms, that is called as machine learning, right? And the word learning, again, what does learning mean? Learning means to look at a lot of data and then a lot of information or a lot of situations in life and developing a sense of what is what, which is what we do as humans. And if we impart that ability to a machine, we say that as a machine learning. Within machine learning, there's a very specific set of techniques which is called as deep learning, right? Now, I'm not going to go into details of what is a deep learning algorithm or what is a machine learning algorithm, but the idea is for you to know how the landscape is. So overall, overarching holistic view is that any ability of machine to learn is artificial intelligence. Within that, there are some set of techniques which are machine learning, some very specific set of machine learning techniques which are very, very similar to how a human brain works. That is called as deep learning. A machine learning might be a statistical technique. It may or may not be similar to how a human mind works. But within machine learning, there is a subset where the models are developed in such a way which mimics a human brain or how a human brain works, which is called as deep learning, right? And one major difference is that mostly machine learning outcomes are interpretable. Like if a machine learning algorithm gives you a result, you know why it gave that result. But that is not necessarily true with deep learning. I'll give you an example. For example, there is a face recognition system in your phone, right? And you have to show it your face a few times, and then it calibrates itself. It calibrates itself, right? And then next time onwards, and it asks you to show your face from different angles. And then once it is calibrated, then every time you show your face, it is able to unlock, right? Now, suppose you grow a beard or you change your face and it is not able to recognize, right? You will never be able to tell why exactly it did not recognize, right? And that is the meaning of interpretability. And that is a major difference between how a machine learning technique works and how a deep learning technique works. Is the difference of interpretability. Suppose you are trying to swipe your credit card at a shop, and usually you spend maybe 50-60,000, but someday you are spending 3 lakh rupees. Your credit card might be declined and you will get a call from the credit card company saying, sir, I think there is some fraud happening with your card. And you will say, no, it's just me, I'm going to use. So how does the credit card company know that there is some fraud happening? Because usually if someone will steal your card, they are going to, swipe. So there is a system where whenever you swipe a card, and if your purchase or if your behavior is not matching with your past behavior, automatically a call gets triggered, right? And if you ask them that why did you trigger this call, they will probably be able to explain it to you. That, okay, sir, you have been using our credit card for so many years and you have been using it for 10-20,000 rupees. And suddenly you are using it for 5 lakh rupees. So we thought something might be wrong. So we decided to give you a call. So they took a decision and they're able to explain that decision, right? That is called as interpretability. But when you talk about deep learning methods, for example, a facial recognition system that I told you, it's not interpretable. And that is like a broad, very, very broad, like a difference. Of course, it's a very deep subject that, we need to delve into. But for someone who has never heard about it, this is like a brief overarching explanation. And then within deep learning, today we have something called as the generative AI. So generative AI are deep learning techniques. By nature, they can also be called as machine learning techniques, and definitely they are AI techniques, but this is how they are subsetted. And now we are going to talk about, so within deep learning, we have traditional AI and we have generative AI. We are going to talk a little bit about what is traditional AI and then what is generative AI and what is the difference between two. Because to understand Chat GPT and why it is becoming such a hype, we need to know what is unique about generative AI and what is it about it that is exciting, right? So let us think about traditional AI. And when I say traditional AI, please don't think that it is from 1960s or 70s. This is maybe less than 10 years old, right? But the development is happening at such a fast pace that we are calling it conventional AI or traditional AI. But what exactly is traditional AI? Right? So this is basically a set of algorithms that process data and return expected result, such as analysis and prediction. What does that mean, right? And I'm also saying that it can be defined as a discriminative AI. What does that mean, right? So let us go back to the example of the apple, banana, and the orange that I gave you. Right? So if I ask you if you have never seen apple and a banana, right? So imagine a world where you have never seen apple and a banana, and I show one apple to you, right? And I tell you that, boss, this is apple, right? And you can touch the apple, you can smell the apple, you can taste the apple, and you can look at the apple, and you can, okay, this is some object, and the name of this object is apple. Fine. Next time I give you another apple, which is slightly different in color, slightly different in taste, and I tell you, boss, this is also apple, right? And I give you 10 apples like that of different shapes, sizes, but they're similar within each other, but there are some variations. And I tell you all of these are apples. and then I show you 100 more apples, right? So ultimately what will happen is that you will learn to identify an apple. That's how we do. That's how we teach children, right? We show them something and we tell them the name, and then we show it many times over a period of time. That child learns to recognize that item, right? That whole idea is called as training. Just like how a child is trained, similar way a machine is also trained, except that the training is given in the form of data, which is numbers, instead of actually showing an apple to a computer screen. We don't do that, right? So once we see a lot of apples, then what exactly have we learned? We have learned to discriminate between what is an apple and what is not an apple. So if I give you a banana and if I ask you that, boss, is this an apple? You will say, no, this is not an apple. How? Why? Because you have seen a lot of apples and you know what an apple looks like. So this kind of a training is called as a discriminative AI, where you are able to discriminate between object A and object B. You look at a cat and you say, okay, this is a cat. You look at a dog and you say, okay, this is a dog, right? And I train a machine that is able to discriminate between a cat and a dog. And that is used mostly. And where will you find application of this? Probably a doctor can use it, where he can train a machine to look at a cell and say whether it is cancerous or not, right? Or a dermatologist can probably look at different types of acne on the skin, and he can learn to discriminate between different types of acne, right? And these are the applications of AI which we are using today, right? Or for example, Google can use it. When someone sends you an email, it is able to discriminate between what is a good email and what is a spam email, right? So all of this is discriminative AI, and it is returning expected results. That is what I mean when I say able to process data, which is training, and return expected results. Means I am expecting it to tell me whether it is a dog or not, whether it is a cancerous cell or not. When a credit card is swiped, whether it is a fraud or not. Just tell me that much, right? Or if you go to a bank and you apply for a loan, they will ask you for a lot of information, like what is your age, what is your gender, how much salary you have, what is your family background, 20 things they will ask. And end of the day, they will say that, okay, we can give you a loan or we cannot give you a loan. Again, the result is expected. Yes to loan or no to loan. If it is a yes to loan, how much interest can we offer you? Can I give you a 10%? Can I give you a 12%? Will I charge you 15%? Right? So all of these are processing data, and it is giving us expected results. This is what we call as a traditional AI. And this has immense applications, immense applications. Like some of the applications, let me talk about it. Object detection, right? For example, during COVID, there were a lot of systems that were developed to detect whether someone is wearing mask or not. How does that work? You show a lot of images of people who are wearing mask. You show a lot of images of people who are not wearing mask. And it is able to detect which one is mask, which one is without mask, right? For example, object detection. There's a dog and a cat. A machine is able to tell which one is a dog, which one is a cat, and it is also telling how confident it is. So it is 98% sure that the image is a dog, 88% sure that it is a cat, right? Auto completion of text. This is a snippet from some coding image, but you will see autocomplete where in your emails. Today's date, if you start writing an email, you write half a sentence and half of the sentence gets completed. That is also an application of AI. Chatbots. You go to Zomato, Swiggy, even IRCTC today, every website has a chatbot. What is chatbot? It has been trained on a lot of data on how to respond when someone asks a question, right? That is also an application of AI. This is again auto completion of text. You go to Google, you write half of what you want, half of it Google will complete, because it knows what you're going to say, because many other people have already asked it. So again, it is trained on some data to take a decision, and it is giving. So this is like a cross section between traditional and generative AI, right? Recommendation systems. You go to Amazon, right, and you buy a book. It will tell you what other book can you buy or what other people bought, right? Or you can go to like machine translation these days, right? You go to Google and you type anything, and it is able to translate that to another language, whichever language. It is also able to detect a language. That is also an application of AI that all of us are seeing in our day-to-day life. Recommendation system, again, Netflix, right? You go to Netflix thinking that, okay, I'm going to watch so-and-so movie. But when you open Netflix, you start watching some other movie, because the recommendation system is so strong that it knows what you like more than you know, right? You might think that, okay, I'm going to watch Pathan, but when you go, you start watching RRR, because it is recommending, it is showing to you on your face, and you get distracted and you start watching another movie, right? That is, the power of recommendation system. All of this is built on traditional AI. right? Now let us talk about then what is generative AI, right? I hope all of you are clear so far. Let me just check. Okay, short answer to all the questions which end in can I make a career in data analytics is yes. All questions. Okay, anyway, I'll be taking specific questions, but I'll just request you guys to keep posting your questions, whatever you want. But if you have any questions related to what I'm talking about currently, please post them as well, so that we can have it a little bit interactive as well. Okay. But yes, answer to all questions to can I make a career in data analytics? If you are having that doubt in mind, the answer is a very strong yes. Okay. Okay, I was talking about traditional AI, and then let us talk about generative AI. So traditional AI, I told you, is able to discriminate between two objects, right? Between a good person and between a bad person, or between a good email and a spam email. What is generative AI then? The word itself says generative, right? What does that mean? It means that it can generate something, or it can synthesize something which actually does not exist, which maybe it has not seen, and it is not giving expected results. Wait 1 second. I hope my screen is visible better. Okay. What is so something that can synthesize information, right? I showed a lot of images of cats and I showed a lot of images of dogs. And when I show it a new image, it is able to tell me whether it is a dog or a cat, whatever. But what I want is I want to generate new dogs based on the dogs that I've seen, or I want to generate a new species of apple or a new variety of apple based on the apples that already exist, right? Here, my expectation of a response from an algorithm is not limited. I'm not saying that tell me whether it is object A or object B. I'm saying you create a new object itself, right? You generate something. That realm of artificial intelligence is called as generative AI. And this is what is revolutionizing everything. And this is why we are also sitting here to understand about generative AI, right? So these are those algorithms which produce newly synthesized content. They're not discriminating between the other two. They're not discriminative in nature. They are generating something. For example, I'm asking Chat GPT to write a poem for me. That poem does not exist actually. It is writing out of nowhere. It is coming like from a human brain, like how you sit with a pen and paper and you start writing something. You're generating something. You're not taking a decision between A and B. That is the power of generative AI, and that is why it is so fascinating even to a common person, because everyone is able to relate to it, right? So we are able to generate some images. For example, the image that I showed you, like if Mahendra Singh Dhoni was a woman, how he would be, right? So what are some of the applications of generative AI? Today we are seeing image and video based. We can generate images. We can complete images. Adobe has come with Firefly, where you can just write that, okay, change the background. You are sitting in your home, but you want to change the background to Maldives. You can do that. You can convert text to image. You can write something and that will get translated to image. OpenAI has come with DALL-E. Style transfer, you have shot a video in certain style, you can transfer it. Text based, of course, we are going to go into a lot of detail. And then, of course, code based, that how can you generate code or programs. So these are some of the things that we are going to talk about. I'm just showing you some of the images. Like this is the image of a teddy bear in Times Square, right? This is generated by DALL-E. DALL-E is another product by OpenAI, the same company which has made Chat GPT. Right? This is an image of a cactus which is wearing a hat and a neon sunglasses. So there's a prompt. You have to write something, and based on what you write, it is able to generate an image, right? This is the image of a cola beer if it was a DJ and a stone carving of it. This is the image of a bird which is having a human expression of being angry. This is also generated using AI. This is again an image and of a human-like figure which is generated using some prompt. And I will request all of you to go and Google about a website called People Who Do Not Exist. It's a website, peoplewhodonotexist.com. It is a website which shows images of people which is generated artificially, which do not actually exist in real life, and they are so real life that it will be mind-boggling for you, right? And I've taken this example. If you can see, Odisha actually has recently come up with a news anchor, which is an AI news anchor. Okay. and she talks and she has human features and she is able to, it's almost like human like, and but it is AI, and this is also based on generational AI. So these are some of the examples, and so I hope all of you, at least by now, have a very clear understanding of what is the landscape of artificial intelligence, and then what is traditional AI, where we have been using it, and then what is new about generative AI and what generative AI does. Okay, again, to recap, traditional AI is able to distinguish between certain objects, right? Generative AI is able to generate new objects, right? And all of this happens based on training. The training is the training part where we show a lot of data to a system, that is common, right? But the algorithms are different, and this is more state of the art. Okay. Okay, I'll just check Q&A once if anyone is having any questions related to what we are talking about. Okay. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, any doubts related to what we are talking, please feel free to write it in the Q&A. Okay. So next thing what we are going to discuss is definitely going to be Chat GPT. Like, what is Chat GPT? So Chat GPT is a product, first of all. Chat GPT is a product which has been developed by a company called OpenAI. Okay. And Chat GPT is, how is AI useful in data analysis? Very, very useful. Very, very useful. I'm going to talk about it in some time. Okay, I'm also going to show you like how it can be done. It is useful in many different ways, right? There's not one way in which it is useful. It is useful in many different ways. So I'm going to talk about, I will talk about ChatGPT in some time, and then I will talk about how ChatGPT can be used in your own field. If there is integration which cannot be clean data, analyze it, create visualization, replace. And this is just beginning. Who know what? Yes, absolutely right. Someone has written about integration of ChatGPT, and which can not only clean the data, analyze it, and also create visualization. Absolutely. So though for those of you who are familiar with Python libraries, there are versions of Python libraries which are coming along with generative AI capabilities. So mostly, what exactly are we doing in ChatGPT? We are using human language to generate something, right? Earlier, if you had to generate image of something, like for example, one of the examples that I gave, you need to hire a designer who will use his experience to make it. But now what are we doing? We are just typing, and I'm going to show you an example of it. Like in ChatGPT, I just write that, okay, write me a poem about roses. It is able to write that poem. So we are able to generate something, and the input is natural language, and that's why it is very, very popular. Because the input does not need any coding. It is natural language, just like how I'm talking to you. Like that, I can just type something and it is able to give me result. And that is also the reason why Siri, Alexa, Google Home, all of these are very important, very popular products. Anyway, coming back, we'll talk about ChatGPT. So what is ChatGPT? It is a product which we call as a large language model. Large language model is what stands for LLM. It basically means that it has been trained. It is a deep learning model. If you remember, I told you generative AI is a subsection of deep learning, which is a subsection of machine learning, which is a subsection of artificial intelligence, right? So it is a deep learning model. There is a very specific type of deep learning models called as transformers. So ChatGPT is basically a transformer. I'm not going into details of this because that is not within the scope of today's discussion. And but it is a deep learning model which has been developed by OpenAI. What does it do? What does it do? The end product is that it has been trained on a lot of data up till somewhere around September 2021. What is data? Data is online articles, Wikipedia pages, anything and everything that is available on the internet. Huge amount of data. You can't even imagine how much data. Billions of data. And it has been trained on that data. So it has kind of learned the patterns in that data, right? So if you ask it any question, it is able to answer because that information is available on the internet, right? That's why it is able to answer that, and it is able to use its own intelligence also. So that is one thing, that it is a large language model which has been developed by OpenAI. It is designed to engage in interactive conversations. Again, that is very, very important, that it is interactive conversations. It's not like a Google search. Suppose you want to know about World War II, what will you do? You will go to Google and you will type it, right? You will get the information. But what is different with ChatGPT? That is interactive, right? And I will show you, I'll give you some examples. You ask it something, it gives you a response, you're not happy with it. You can say, ChatGPT, please, give me a smarter answer. ChatGPT, you're wrong. Give me this. ChatGPT, I don't want answer in a detailed format. Please give it to me in a succinct format. You can talk to it like you talk to any human being, or how you will talk to, your colleague, or anyone. And it can understand that, and it can, interact. It can interact with you. And that is why it is very, very popular. So the two reasons it is popular is that the input is natural language. And second is that it can interact with you. And it can generate text-based dialogues. It is generating. It is not like it is copy-pasting from some place and it is giving to you. That's what Google does. It is not indexing the information. It is taking that information and molding it, understanding it, and framing it in a way in which you want, right? So the information that we give to ChatGPT are called prompts, right? And as of now, as beginners, we just go and we write something and we get a response. But writing a correct prompt, that itself is a that itself is a section in itself that we need to master, but we're not going to go into those details today, right? And the other important thing that I want to highlight here is that it provides contextually relevant and coherent responses. Context is very, very important. It understands the context in which you are asking, right? Also, other important thing is that it can remember, because it is a chatbot, right? So if you ask something and then it gives a response, and again you ask it something around modifying the question that you had asked earlier, it is able to remember that also. So these are some of the features which is making ChatGPT very, very popular. Will there be job cuts in future due to these technologies which are working like? The answer to that question is something that we are going to talk about in a certain time, because I need to give a detailed answer to that. Will AI robots replace most of the jobs humans are currently doing anytime in near future? If so, which of the job sectors that would get adversely impacted? Very, very good question, Megha. Again, this is a question that we are going to address in a while, and it's a very, very valid question, right? So what is key features of ChatGPT? Of course, we talked about conversational engagement, understanding of the context. It gives you information in a language which you can understand. Knowledge retrieval, what I mean is that it has been trained on a lot of information that is there. Creative output, it can create things. You can ask it to write an essay. You can ask it to write a poem. You can ask it to write a birthday message for you, right? And the final topic final point that is there is flexibility and fine tuning. Now, fine tuning is a word very, very important. We'll discuss this later, but the gist of it is that you can modify ChatGPT to help you in a custom way, like it's your own ChatGPT. And there are very, very important applications of it. Personally, I have tried it and it's amazing. I've used it in an industry application. So that is something that I'll talk towards the end because that's a little bit advanced topic. Right. So what are some of the applications of ChatGPT today we are seeing, right? So today, mostly what we are seeing ChatGPT is most often what it is being used is in customer support. And personally what I am seeing is in customer support and to automate tasks and in advertising. You know, if you have seen the latest Wakefit ad, Wakefit is a mattress producing company. They have made an advertisement with Ayushmann Khurrana where they are showing the childhood of Ayushmann Khurrana, and the child is AI generated version of the young Ayushmann Khurrana. So how Ayushmann Khurrana would look when he was young, that they have generated and they have made an advertisement of it. You can go and watch the ad of Wakefit mattress, right? So this is what I had to talk about ChatGPT. Now what we are going to do is we are going to look at how do we explore it. So I'm going to stop the presentation right now and I'm going to go to OpenAI and we are going to start writing some prompts and see how ChatGPT is going to help us, because the motto of us assembling here is to know how ChatGPT can help us improve our productivity. Correct? So I hope everything is clear so far. All of you got a very basic idea of what is AI, conventional AI, generative AI, Chat GPT, what it is, and how it can help. Okay. I hope everyone is able to see my browser window where I have opened the Chat GPT. Sabrish, if you're there, can you confirm? Just to be sure.
Yeah, Dharmendra, it's
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
So this is where we get to play around with ChatGPT. So this is available. You can go to openai.com and there you can do a login using your Gmail. I'm not going to show that. I will trust all of you are familiar with how to open a website and how to log in. But basically, you just have to provide your email ID and you will get access to this portal where you can interact with ChatGPT. I know many of you must have tried it, but I'm going to assume that you have not tried it. So I'm going to start it. I'm going to talk about it in a very, very simplistic manner. Somebody is asking me, sir, I am a BCom student. Can I eligible for this, sir? Absolutely, Mr. Vishnu. You are 100% eligible for this. Okay. So yeah, let us just start playing with it and to see, what it can do. So let us say that, okay, I am a machine learning engineer who is working machine learning engineer. Can you write a poem about machine learning? Okay, this must be fun. Let us see. Okay. Oh my God. See, it is writing a poem for me, right? And it is writing see, what is the information that I've given? I've just told him that I am a machine learning engineer, and it has written a poem in realms of data where patterns reside, dance of algorithms where minds open wide. I summon a tale, poetic endeavor of machine learning, our digital endeavor. You see, how is it able to generate this? And it is. I just told it that I am a machine learning engineer, right? I didn't even say or write a poem about machine learning. It knows what are the terms around machine learning. So algorithms, data, patterns, and it goes down. You can see artificial neurons, and see, it is able to find out that, okay, forests of decision trees an algorithm in machine learning, right? Complexity is a word that we use very often. Neural networks, deep learning, the word that I told you is based on neural networks. Neural is human brain. So brain like networks, when we generate artificially, that is only artificial intelligence, which is also called as neural networks. See, it knows that. Regression, classification, clustering, these are also techniques of machine learning. So it is able to do this, right? So we know that how it is able to generate something. It is not it is not segregating two items in a separate in two different categories. It is generating brand new information which did not exist. So this is there. Now, my idea is that how do we use this portal, right, in our day-to-day life? So I'm going to take few, I'm going to segregate it into few categories. One category is that I'm going to talk about how do we use this to learn Python, which I will do in the end. Two items that I'm going to talk about is career related. If you are trying to advance in your career, how do you use ChatGPT? Right? That's an interesting topic, right, to all of you. And I'll assume that I'll just take an example. If you follow it, you will know that you can use this in your own way. But just for demo purpose, I will assume that all of you are interested in learning data. If not becoming a data scientist, at least you want to learn about data so that you can use it in your day-to-day life, right? So suppose you are interested in learning. So I will just say that, okay, I am a beginner I am working as an architect, and I am interested in learning data science. Can you make me a 7-day learning plan to start 7-day learning plan to get introduced to data science? give me day-wise plan. Let us see if it is able to generate. Okay, see, it is able to. I said give me a day-wise plan, and it is able to give me a day-wise plan. So what does it say? Okay, day one, introduction to data science. Familiarize yourself with basic concepts, role of data science, various industries, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. Fundamentals of statistics. Very good. If you came and if you asked me, I would have given you a similar response, right? And if you go to Google, probably you'll have to skim through a lot of different pages to get this information. Okay, data manipulation and analysis. Okay, data visualization. Very good. Introduction to machine learning on the 5th day. Model evaluation techniques. Okay, practical applications and next steps. So it has generated a 7-day plan. If you asked it to generate a 30-day plan, probably it would have done. Okay. So let me see that what are some of the other prompts that I can give. Suppose you have prepared for you have prepared data science and you have been learning it for 30 days or 2 months or so, and now you have an interview, right? And how can ChatGPT help you prepare for an interview, right? So let me say that, okay, I am aspiring data analyst who wants to apply for entry-level job in a company. Can you please act as an interviewer and ask me 5 questions on data science topics to help me prepare? Okay. 5 questions on data science. Okay. And okay, let us just say 5 questions on data science and see. Okay. Let us see if it is able to ask me. Great. You see, it has generated 5 questions for you. And you can now answer these questions. Okay, I will see. It has given me a lot of nonsense as well. I asked it to just give me the questions, but it has given me this explanation also. I don't like this. Okay, I'm going to say, I need just the questions. Please don't give any explanation. Just give me the questions. Okay, great. Right. So there are 5 interview questions on data science topics. Now, if you are an aspirant, you can try answering this. What is the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning? Provide examples. Now, this is a question that can be asked to you in an interview, right? This is a question that I probably will ask in an interview many times. How would you handle missing values in a data set? What is overfitting in machine learning? How can it be prevented? Can you explain the concept? So these are some of the things that you will be, just an example. But okay, let us say that not data science. I will say I am going to apply for a product manager in a fintech company. Can you ask me 5 interview questions that are commonly asked? Okay. Right. So see, it is related to fintech company. If you're applying as a product manager, what are some of the questions that you can expect? Right. So these are some of the questions. Walk me through a product or feature you successfully delivered in a previous role. What challenges did you face and how did you overcome? This is the most common question that you will come across. Most common question that you will come across, right? And it is able to tell. In fact, I asked Chat GPT to ask, say, for example, I am interviewing for machine learning engineer, and in the interview process, I will just describe it. And in the interview process, 5 technical and 5 aptitude and puzzles will be asked. Can you ask me questions in the same pattern so that I can prepare? You don't have to write so much. I'm just writing for you to understand. Okay. So you see, right now it is giving a different answer, but these are questions that actually are being asked. These are the puzzles that are actually being asked in machine learning interviews. I can tell you from my experience, because I have seen these questions and I have also asked these questions. When I interview for a role, I get asked. When I am the interviewer, I ask these questions. And these are very, very common questions. If you have a deck of 52 playing cards, what is the probability of drawing 2 cards in a row? Something like that. right? And these are some technical questions. So any interview that you go to, the interview is segregated between different parts. There will be some questions on technical, there will be some questions on aptitude and puzzle, there will be some questions on your past experience, there will be some questions based on your CV. All of that you can generate here and you can practice, right? Is it not going to help your preparation? And you don't have to open any book. On your phone you can do it, right? And then maybe I can say that these questions are very easy. Can you please ask me more difficult questions, right? So you can do this. Now it is asking me more difficult questions, right? I hope all of you are getting this idea. Next, what can be an application? All of you, when we want to apply for jobs, we have to write cover letters, right? Or we have to write emails to people for asking them for referral, or we are asking people to, what do you say, writing mails to recruitment managers, right? So say if I am applying for a data scientist at Tesla, and I have 5 years of experience in Ramlal Private Limited and Shamlal Private Limited. Can you please generate a resume with relevant keywords? So I can ask Chat GPT to actually make my resume, right? Of course, I will have to design it, but it is able to give me some content, right? And I have not given it any information. I just told him that I want to apply at Tesla and that I have 5 years of experience. It is automatically able to generate objective education skills, right? And then it is able to say, okay, I have experience as a data scientist in Ramlal Private Limited, and then data analyst in Shamlal Private Limited. I didn't even tell him that I was a data analyst. I just said I have experience. It automatically assigned the title of data scientist in one company, data analyst in one company, right? And it has, created some projects also here. And it has created a segment for certifications. It has created a segment for publications, and there is reference. So now you can copy paste this. And of course, this is not 100% correct, but this is a boilerplate. This is for you to get started, to get a basic idea of how it is going to be, right? Say I want to write a cover letter to a recruiting, to a HR in a fintech company for the role of staff product manager. Okay, it will write a cover letter for me, right? And here I've not given any information, but you can give some information that, okay, my background is this, and I have studied from here, and I have so much experience, and I have done this in this field, I have done work. Based on that, it will generate a cover letter for you. Okay, and you can also say that, okay, this cover letter is too long. Can you please write it in a brief manner? So cover letter usually should be very brief. So it should be able to write a brief one. Let me see. It is still going very long. I need even smaller. For sure. Thank you. Right. So see, it has written a very small cover letter, and you can use this template. I will recommend you that please don't copy paste. Please don't copy paste. And this is another example of someone is asking me, will ChatGPT replace someone? No, it cannot. At least right now it cannot. There has to be a human intervention. It is like an intern. If your boss is having you as an intern, he's giving you tasks, but you are not allowed to take that task and do whatever. He's going to supervise it. You are going to do a lot of work, but someone is going to supervise it. Similarly, ChatGPT is also like an intern, or it is like a helper. Whatever it is doing, you need to keep an eye. It is going to reduce your work. It is not going to replace your work. Right? So this is how we can write a cover letter probably. And then I can say that, okay, if you don't understand any concept, will ChatGPT replace a data analyst? No. Okay. Let me say that, okay, I don't understand the concept. See, a very important thing I'll tell you, very commonly, even from my experience, I'm saying, that often in interviews, I ask people to explain something in a very simple way. Like I will say, I will give a topic and I will say that you have to explain it as if you are explaining it to a 10-year-old. And this is a very commonly asked question because it is testing that how well you know. So you take any topic, like for example, I'll say, can you explain the meaning of income tax to a 10-year-old? Right? So it has to explain in very simple way. It has to create some story. It cannot use any statistical jargon. Okay. Okay, not like this. This is not giving me what I want. I will say some other thing. Can you explain the concept of EBITDA to a 10-year-old? Please don't use any technical jargon. Okay. See, it is taking an example of a lemonade stand to make you understand, right? If you don't understand something, what will a teacher do? It will make some story and it will, try to explain it to you. So similarly, if you are also preparing for some interviews and you know that the interviewer can ask you such questions, you can use Chat GPT to generate these kind of responses, right? One other application that I can tell you is that when you are making resumes, your resumes will get filtered by certain algorithms, and it is going to match whether your resume is fitting the job description or not. So what you can do is you can ask Chat GPT that please tell me some keywords to include in my resume for a data analyst role in a healthcare based company. So if you're applying to a healthcare based company as a data analyst, in your resume, what you should add, right? So it will give you some, terms like electronic health records, these are the medical claims, clinical trials, patient demographics. If these are the terms you are somewhere putting in your resume, there is a very high chance that your resume will get selected, right? HIPAA compliance. It's a very important term. That is, people who are working in healthcare, they will know, right? So these are some of the things that you can use ChatGPT in a very intelligent way, to make your life easy. Correct? And I hope everyone is getting this idea. One more application is that when you're applying to a company, the first thing that an interviewer will ask you that what do you know about the company, right? And when you are doing a job search, you are applying to 100 of companies. It is not possible to do research on every single company. So suppose I can say that I am applying to Tesla as a machine learning engineer. What do I need to know about the company? Tell me in brief. Okay. So you can just do quick search so that you know that what Tesla is doing and how is it relevant to your job application. Right? So it is giving you some information about gigafactories and autopilot, self-driving technology. Right? These are some of the terms that you need to know if you are applying to this thing. Right? I hope all of you are finding this useful. Right? This is like in your career related, how you can use it. Some other examples can be like you can summarize books, right? You can tell like, okay, what are some good books to learn about business statistics, right? And it will generate some response. And then what you can also do is you can say that, okay, this is a book. Can you summarize the topics in this book for me so that you don't have to read the whole book? Or no, of course, you have to read the book, but you will get like a summary. Okay. I will say for book number 6, can you tell me some summary of the topics in the book? So this way you can leverage this type of technology in your career related aspects, right? So see, it is generating these responses, which is telling me about what are the topics that are included in the book. Definitely there will be descriptive statistics, there's probability, sampling, hypothesis testing, and various other topics. And I am taking an example of data related things, but if you are working in a different field, this is applicable to all of you. This is just an example. I think all of you will be able to, take these examples as inspiration, and you can use it in your own use case. Right. Okay. The next thing that I want to show you is that how you can use Chat GPT. All of us are very often using PowerPoint slides, right? We often make PowerPoints. And it takes a lot of time very often to, generate some slides, even on a simple topic. So how can we use Chat GPT to make presentations, right? Is that an interesting topic for everyone? How to use Chat GPT to make presentations? I can also show you how you can use Chat GPT within 5 minutes to build a small web page, right? That also I'll show you. So let us say that if an interviewer and both use Chat GPT for questions, maybe they will get the same question. Will it work? No, because Chat GPT will not always return you the same response every time. Okay, it's not going to give you the same response every time. Is ChatGPT useful in supply chain? See, ChatGPT is useful in all the fields. Given the person who's using it has to know where to use it. You should know your requirement, that what do I want? Okay. Once you know what you want and you're able to write it, like for example, I'm preparing for an interview and I want to read a book. And my problem is that I don't have time to read the book. I want a summary of the book. So I can ask ChatGPT that this is the book. Can you please summarize it for me? Right? As long as you know what you want to do, and if it is a text-based response, definitely chatbot can help you. Right? So please think about it as your personal intern or your personal co-pilot or like a helper, which can do some mundane task for you. It's not that if ChatGPT is not there, you can't do this. You can get summary of books on the internet also, but it is going to take you some time, right? And everything that I'm going to show you is basically to save your time. That's why what we have said. We have said that it is improving your productivity. It is improving your productivity. If there is a task that will cover letter it is writing. Can you not write a cover letter on your own? You can write it, but it will take you 20 minutes. You have to think about it. But ChatGPT can do within 2 seconds. And then you can copy paste and you just have to replace a few things, do one proofread, done. Right? That's the thing. And once you know Python and once you know any programming language, you can also automate it. You can automate it. You can just write the name of the company, right? And you can give your resume and you can say, ChatGPT, please take this company name, history of the company, my resume, combine them together and write one cover letter or write one custom resume, right? And it will be able to do that. But that is slightly little bit trickier. For that, you need to know a little bit of programming. But the point that I'm trying to say is that all of that is possible. If it is there in your mind, if you're able to think about it, you will be able to execute it also. But today's session is more of a beginner friendly, an introduction, but the capabilities of ChatGPT is immense. Okay. So yeah. So we were talking about how can we generate some slides. So for example, I want to generate a presentation. I want to make a quick presentation within 5 minutes about, give me some topic, right? I'll say, okay, can ChatGPT generate keys? Can you please explain what do you mean by generate keys? Do you mean passwords? If that is a question, then yes. You don't need ChatGPT for it. You can do it anyways. But yeah, ChatGPT can also do it. But please elaborate your question. How do we generate a PPT? So I will say I want to make a PPT on importance of yoga. Okay. So I'll just say that please make 5 slides. How many slides you want? I'll make, okay, 5 slides. Okay. 5 slides on importance of yoga. And you can think about any topic that you are working with. Okay. Importance of yoga. In fact, you can, if you have a bunch of text, you can give that text and then say that, okay, based on this text, please generate 5 slides for me. That also you can do. But here I'm making it completely from scratch. But I'm also leaving some scope for you to, go back home and explore it on your own, because you have to do it on your own. I am just here to inspire you, motivate you to use this and in what way you can use it, right? Now, all of you will have different stories. All of you have different work life. In your work life, how this will fit, that you have to take motivation from the examples that I'm giving, and then you have to use it. Okay. So I'm going to make a slide. Please make 5 slides on importance of yoga in today's world. Please also include little information about what do you say? Little information about history of yoga. Okay. So let us see how it is generating the slides. Okay. So it is saying that, okay, slide number 1 is going to be about the importance, and there are 2 topics here. Slide 2, it is having some topic. Slide 3 is having some topic. Slide number 4 is having some topic. Slide number 5, and there is a closing slide as well. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this whole thing. Okay. I'm going to copy this whole thing because I have to make a presentation. So, and later on, I can also ask to give me details about each slide. Right now, it is just making an outline. So I will go to my, what you have to do is you have to go to create a Word document, and there are many ways to do it. I'm showing you one way. I hope you can see my document. So you have to open your Microsoft Word, and you have to open it in your web Word. It's not working in, currently it is not working in your, the Microsoft Word that you have as an application in your laptop. It will work in your cloud-based Word, which is on the website. So you just go on Google and type Word on the web, and it will work there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste that information here, right? So all of that information has been pasted. I will just probably change the font a little bit here. I'll make it white. Sorry, what happened? This is a dark view for some reason. I'm going to make it normal, and then I'm going to change the font so you're able to read it. Right. So these are some of the slides. Now what I want to do is I want to generate presentation from it. So I'll just go to, because this generative AI technique is already built into Word. So see, here itself you're getting some design ideas, but this is not, I'm not interested in this. We'll go to File, and there's an option called Export. I hope all of you are able to see my Word screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go here, and there's an option called Export to PowerPoint presentation, right? The moment I click to it, it is taking the content and it is generating a PowerPoint presentation for you, right? And I will just say, okay, this is one theme, basic themes. You have option of choosing the themes, but just for demo purpose and time consideration, I'm just taking the first one. But please feel free to explore this. So it is preparing the slides. Let us see what kind of a result we can get. And mind it is happening within 5 minutes, right? And okay, let's see. So it is generating a PowerPoint. Wow, wonderful, right? So you see this. It has generated 4 slides for me. Are you able to see, right? And it is able to see, I did not give any image inspiration. It is able to, understand that, okay, we are talking about yoga. So it is generating some image, which is of yoga mats, and it is providing a background. Now, this is not a very professional presentation, but this is an exceptionally good work that you can do within 60 seconds. It took me 1 minute, right? And I could have asked Chat GPT to also, where is Chat GPT? Okay, I'll say, please provide me more details. Please provide some text to go with each slide, right? So for each of the 5 slides, I want some information. So let us see. Okay, title. So all the 5 slides, it has made some information here. Okay, so I'll take all this information and I will go back to my Word document. I will take this, I will paste this, and I will say, okay, generate me one more presentation. And there are 2 ways. I'll show you one more way, which you can do in Google Slides. So many of us are not using PowerPoint and documents, Word files today. Most of us use Google Slides. So even in Google Slides, we can do this. I will just show you, and it is even simpler in Google Slides actually. Okay, let us see what presentation we are making. Okay, see, we have this presentation ready, right? With all the text. And how much time did it take me, right? And you see that I have also an option of designing it. Say I don't like the images or something. See, here we have options of changing the look and feel of it, right? You can come here and you can, look at various different images of yoga. Can you see this, right? All of this is generative AI, right? You just wrote the word yoga and it is able to do all this, right? And this will give you like a starter template. It's not a final product. And that's why I say, let us look at this one. Okay, see, I've changed the image now. So it is like a yoga image. I go to slide number 2. For slide number 2, again, you will have options of today history of yoga. So it is integrated with Bing. Bing is a search engine based on Google. So that is integrated with PowerPoint, which is and I'm using Chat GPT. So I've used Chat GPT to generate content, and that content I'm giving to Microsoft, and Microsoft is using Bing to generate images from that. And then Microsoft Designer is putting all of that together and making a slide. You see, all of that is interconnected. Now I'll show you how you can do this in Google Slides. So let me just open this. I will just say Google Slides. Guys, I hope you are finding this useful. If yes, please write it in the chat box. Can we use it in place of Google as a search engine? Google as a search, you can use it for quick responses. Please, can you please repeat once how to convert in Word? What you have to do is you go to the Word and then you paste the content and then just go here and click on export, and you will have an option of export to PowerPoint presentation. This is one way to do it. I'm showing you method number 2. Okay, so method number 2 is you go to Google Slides, and I'm here, and there is an extension, very popular extension these days, and this is the extension that I'm using. Okay, there are many extensions. My agenda is to just motivate you and inspire you. These extensions will keep changing, more and more will come. Be on the lookout, try to find such extensions. I'm just giving you one example. Deepak, I hope it is clear how I did it in Word. Okay, Vicky Verma, like product key. Okay, yeah, definitely product key can be generated. That's not a, it's very simple. Try it. Go to open after the session, go to Google and just say that, okay, please generate some random keys for me. And in fact, you can do it in Python also. In fact, what you can do, very simple. I'll go to Chat GPT and I will say, sorry, I'm digressing a little bit, but this is like very exciting. Please generate some keys, random 20-letter keys. Okay, you can do this. It will generate some keys here. And at the same time, I can also ask it. Right now, I'm not going into coding, but I will probably show you quickly. Can you write a Python code to generate 20-letter keys? And I'm going to give you a demo in Python also, that how we can generate Python code from this. But you see, for people who are familiar with Python, this is the Python code. You can just copy paste in your this thing. You can run it and you will get as many keys as you want. You see how simple it is. Right now, I'm not going into it, but after some time, probably I'll come back and I will talk about it. Okay. So where were we? We are trying to make a Google slide. Okay. So there is an extension here which is called as Magic Slides. So you can Google about Magic Slides. You can go to their Google page and you can click on install, and it will add as an extension to your Google Slides. And I will just open it. And let me see. This is again based on generative AI. I will say which role describes you best. I will say probably I am a student. And how did you hear about Magic Slides app? I'll say, okay, I heard about from colleague. Something I'll just write here. I hope it opens. Okay. So here I will say, again, I will make on the same thing. I'll say importance of yoga in today's lifestyle, and along with, so there is a character limit, by the way. Okay. Along with images and history of yoga in India. Okay. And it is saying that how many slides I want to generate. I'll say, okay, maybe I want to generate 8 slides. I don't know how much time it will take. but and it is limited little bit slightly. Okay, so I will probably have to pay for it, but there are some free credits here. I hope within those credits I'm able to generate it. Let us see. If not, probably it will just generate 1 or 2 slides, but I think you will get an idea. That's my agenda of, because I was trying it yesterday, so I generated a lot of PPTs. So I think I have consumed my credits, but let us see. It will take some time. Be patient. And after this, we are going to jump to little bit of how it is going to help us in coding. Excellent. So our PPT is ready. I don't know how many of you are keeping time, but this did not take even 2 minutes, right? And importance of yoga in today's lifestyle, exploring the history of yoga in India. You see, it has even generated the text for you based on what I wrote. And you can see the slides, right? Introduction, physical benefits, mental benefits, spiritual connection, history of yoga in India, modern yoga practices, and integration. Guys, do you feel this is useful? Can you use this in your every day in your work? Whenever you are making a PPT, again, I'm repeating, this is not a final product, but this is an excellent starter product. This is an excellent, bare bones template on which now you can do your work, or you can get inspired that, okay, I like this design. I'm going to change the font a little bit, or I'm going to change the content here a little bit. Okay. Can you repeat PPT from Google Drive? Okay, you need to install a extension here, which is called as Magic Slides app. So just go to Google and just search for Magic Slides. Okay, and you will have an option here called install. I have already installed it. So you'll have an option called install. You install this, and then you go to your Google Slides, go to extensions. There is in your extensions tab, you will find Magic Slides. You open this Magic Slides, it will ask you a few questions, just answer it, and then just type what you want here, and it will generate a slide for you. You can also choose language here. I don't know if Hindi is here. Let me see. See, I'm also trying in front of you. I have also not done this before. I have tried in yesterday, but see, all of this is very, very new. Okay, let me type Hindi and let me say if it is able to generate in Hindi. Okay, after this, I'm going to show you how you can quickly generate a web app. Sorry, not a web app, a web page. And then after that, probably we'll take a quick break, and then we'll start discussing about Python. We'll wait for some time. These slides can be downloaded to PPT as desktop, of course, yes. Please share links, Word on Cloud, etc. that you have used. See, Word on Cloud is from your Microsoft account. When you buy the Microsoft product, today's product is Microsoft 365, right? Okay, see, I'm not able to generate because I have already exhausted my credits. So I will have to make a new account with a new email ID. But I think all of you got an idea of what it is. So on a free account, it will only give you limited access. So you can probably try it with your account, right? The next thing that I want to show you is, suppose I want to make a web page very quickly. I don't know how many of you are familiar with HTML and other things. Assume that I don't know HTML. Okay, I don't know how to create a web page, but I want to create a web page. I just know that there is something called as HTML, and every web page on the internet is based from some HTML code, right? But I don't know what is that HTML code. So I'm going to give you an example of how we can generate a quick web page using Chat GPT, right? So say I want to make, I will say generate HTML code to make a web page about what topic you want to make a web page. Give me some ideas. I will say that I want to make it about Taj Mahal. Okay. Taj Mahal. Or let us do yoga only about, or let us say Taj Mahal. In India, please put heading as wonders of the world. So I want heading as wonders of the world, and then put a description of Taj Mahal and its history. Okay. So let us see if it is able to generate a HTML code for it. Okay. And you don't need to know what is HTML code, right? You don't need to know what is HTML code. I'll just show you how you can explore it. And this you can do once the session is over. You go home and you can, try this on your own. It's very simple. So this is a HTML file that has been generated. Let us see first how it is, and then if we don't like it, we will definitely change it. So I'll just copy it, and what you have to do is you have to paste it in some text editor, any text editor. You open your Microsoft Word or you open any file, and you have to paste it there, and you have to save it. I will just probably save it, save as, and you have to give a name called I will say Taj Mahal Chat GPT. Okay, and you have to save it as a .html anywhere in your laptop. Give a name and give a .html. You have to save it as a HTML file. Okay, and that HTML file will open in your browser as a web page. Okay, so I've saved this, and then I will go to my desktop. Where is it?
Ramendra, your screen, yeah. So,
1 second. Sorry. I'm very sorry. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, you take that code, this code, right? Whatever it has generated. Right now we are not interested in. We'll fine tune it, but whatever it has generated, you paste it in any text editor. You open your Microsoft Word or anything, paste it there, and save it as a .html file anywhere, right? And then you can go to your desktop, right? And here I have saved it as a Taj Mahal HTML, Taj Mahal Chat GPT, and I will just open it, right? And you see it has generated a web page. Can all of you see this web page about Taj Mahal?
Yeah.
Right. But this does not look very nice, right? This is very, very basic. I don't like it. So what can we do? We can say, ask Chat GPT that, okay, please add some formatting to this, add some font color and background. Please also add an image of Taj Mahal. Okay, so let us see that I have asked it to improve it, and let us see if it is able to improve it. And this is also why I'm showing you this very important lesson here that you need to keep in mind, that Chat GPT is not going to give you always what you want. So human intervention is always needed. And many people are asking that, is it going to replace people? No, it is not going to replace people. It is only going to make your work easier, but it cannot replace people. And one example you will see just now. Okay, so I will take this code, and I'm going to go back to my text editor. I'm going to delete all this, and I'm going to paste this new one, and I'm going to save it, and I'm going to go back to my Taj Mahal page, and I'm going to hit refresh. And now it has taken the new code. I don't understand the code. I've just said that I want something around Taj Mahal. I don't know what it has done, but I will expect it to look a little bit better. Let me see. It has changed it. Can you see the difference? Right now, I had asked it to add one image. Okay, but it has added one image here, but that image is not visible. Now this is where you see. Now even if I don't understand this code, I know that somewhere in the code there is some link to some image, because it has to take some image from the internet. And you see here, even if you don't understand this, please just think that, okay, there is one link here around tajmahal.jpg. This tajmahal.jpg does not exist, but ChatGPT does not know that, right? So it has given, I told him to add one image, so it has added one image, but that image does not exist. So this image has to be replaced by an actual link of what image I want, right? So I will just probably go to Unsplash. Unsplash is a website where you can get free images. I will say Taj Mahal, right? And I will get some image of Taj Mahal, probably this one. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. There are some glitches. I like this image. I will open this image in a new tab, and I will take this link. And now this link, I will paste it here. See where the human intervention is coming. I know that ChatGPT has messed up in this part. So I will just paste that link and I will save it. Now I will go back again to my web page and my image should come now. See, my image has come, right? Is everyone following? Right? I still don't like it. I still don't like it. And I have heard that there is some technique called CSS, which makes HTML page look good. I don't know what is CSS, but I've heard from my friends that there is something called as CSS, which makes a web page look very good. So I'll just say ChatGPT to use some CSS, even though I don't know what it is. I will say, can you make this page look better using some CSS? Sorry, my throat is not very well today. So now it is going to generate more code using CSS. Even though I don't know what is CSS, I don't understand this code. We'll see if it looks better or not. Okay. So I'll take this whole thing. There's an option called copy code. I will go to my text editor. I will take all this. I will delete everything. I will save it. I'll come back here and I will see if it is looking better. Oh, okay. It's looking better. Again, the same image problem is there. So I will take this image. I'll take this image link. We'll go back. Where is the link to the image? Somewhere. Okay, here, image source. Okay, fine. I'll paste it here. I will click as save and I will go back to my Taj Mahal page and I hope, okay. This looks better, right? This looks better. And now if you don't like the background, if you don't like the font, you can just ask ChatGPT that, okay, can you please make the background as pink? Can you change the font? And it can do all of that, right? I am leaving it up to you how much you want to explore, but this is a fairly decent looking page, right? Which you generated within 4 to 5 minutes. If you had to write the code for it, it would have taken you half an hour or 40 minutes or 1 hour, right? Is everyone with me? We'll take some questions. How can we use ChatGPT while we are coding on a specific data? I have tried it, but the code it provides are not specific to the data. I keep making it precise. Okay, we are going to talk about ChatGPT and coding. That is the next section that we are going to cover. When did you add the code to Word? The content came. No, I took the code, I added to Word and I saved it as a HTML file. That HTML file will automatically open as a web page. Okay, I'll just repeat it. Step 1, ask ChatGPT to write HTML code. Whatever code it is giving, click on copy code, take that code, paste it anywhere and in any text file and save it as a .html file. I have saved it as a Taj Mahal ChatGPT .html. Wherever that file gets saved, double click on it. It will open in your browser as a web page. Okay. This HTML code is basically keeping track of, okay, what is your title? What are the headings? What image? How much is the width of the image? All those things are here. You don't need to worry about it. What is heading, subheading, paragraph, all those things. Okay. Those who know HTML, very good. Those who don't know HTML, you don't have to know about it. Okay. You can just iterate, keep asking ChatGPT to improve it and keep playing around with it. That is my idea. Okay. So what is next? What is remaining for today's session? I think we are already halfway through. So next, what we are going to talk about is how ChatGPT is going to help you with Python, right? And I'm going to take one end-to-end use case. We'll probably spend 15 to 20 minutes there. And then I'm going to completely disassociate and I'm going to talk about Python separately, right? Many of you must be interested in knowing about Python. So we will talk about Python, right? So we'll take a quick break for 15 minutes. After the break, we will talk about ChatGPT, how it can generate Python code, and then we will talk about Python separately. So these two things we are going to cover. I hope all of you have followed every single thing that has been covered till now. I hope you're liking it and I hope that you are inspired to use it without thinking that, okay, this is something very complicated. No, this is very, very simple and it is for everyone, right? Okay, so we'll take a break and we'll take a very short break because we have lots of things to do. So we'll take 10 minutes break. It's 11:40. We will be back at 11:50. Okay. And then we'll continue. Okay, Sabrish, if you're recording this, probably we can pause it. Okay, guys, can we resume the session now? Is all well, Sabrish? Can we resume?
Yeah, Ramendra, we can.
Okay, sure. I'll just share my screen. Okay, so now that you are familiar with how ChatGPT can be used, in your day-to-day work, for example, if you're talking about advancement in your career, or say, for example, working towards learning a new skill, or say, for example, you are trying to appear for an interview, how ChatGPT can be like your friend, right? And all of this, again, I'm repeating, why it is very exciting is the input that you are giving is coming in natural language. AI was there up until now as well, but it was limited to access by programmers because you needed to write program to kind of access it. But the moment it becomes simple, where human input can be given, which we call as a natural language, and the field itself is called NLP, natural language processing, it becomes very, very accessible. Now you saw that I was able to generate a HTML code by giving input in natural language. I just said that give me a code on so-and-so topic, on so-and-so style, and it is able to generate. So this technique is called as text to code. Similarly, we have text to image. I will urge all of you after this session, go home, search about Bing image creator, right? And then you go and you just type things like a giraffe with zebra's skin, right? Or a tiger with pink color stripes, or a human and a horse combined, something like that. Anything crazy, try. And it will be able to generate some images and it will be able to give you. For example, the image that I gave you of how Virat Kohli will look if he's a woman. So please go and please play around. That is my appeal to all of you, that when you go home, try this on your own. The things that I'm going to show you now is going to be a little bit on the side of coding. And I am assuming that none of you are familiar with coding. I'm just taking that assumption. I know some of you might be. Some of you might be familiar with some other language or whatever. I'm just assuming that you don't know. But what is my intention of showing you is that, please understand this very clearly, that many people have a myth in their minds that if I am not from an engineering background, or if I'm not from science background, if I don't have experience in coding or computer related field, then I can't learn coding, right? And within the last 2 hours itself, I'm getting a lot of questions around it. So what is my agenda for the part of the session going forward is that one is to motivate you to learn without having any kind of myth in your mind. Two is that how ChatGPT can help you generate code. So I already have given you example of text to code in terms of HTML. Going forward, we are going to look at it from a Python perspective. So we will take 1 or 2 examples, and then separately I will talk to you about Python and its application in the industry, right? Does it sound exciting to all of you? My speaker settings, let me just see. I think it is the same as what it was before. Is my voice clear, Sabrish?
Yeah, Ramendra,
Okay.
it's clear.
Okay, great. Anyone who's not able to hear it clearly, please check your settings. Okay, so we are going to go back to ChatGPT and okay, how many of you are familiar with the language Python or any coding language? Can you just write it in the chat box? Yes. Okay. I am new. I want to learn programming in Python. Please help me understand. Please give me a 30-day plan to learn Python. Okay, let me see what ChatGPT says. Little bit in SQL. Okay, we'll take some examples of SQL. Okay, not familiar with any coding language. Okay, great. See, now henceforth, whatever I'm going to do, if there is something that you don't understand, like for example, where am I pasting the code? What is this software? What is the code doing? All that, don't need to worry about it. Okay, don't need to worry about it. My idea is to show you how simple it can be. Of course, if you don't know programming language, you will not understand what is being written. But my philosophy is always you should focus on what is happening, and then you should focus on how it is happening. Okay. So first you need to understand what am I doing. And if you're able to understand it in a simple human language, you will be able to write it in Python or any coding language. Okay. So please don't feel that, okay, I'm showing you something that you are not familiar with. Yes, it is something you are not familiar with, but try to understand what is happening and don't focus on where am I running the code or what does the code say. Okay, please don't worry about that. Okay, so I said that, okay, I want to learn Python programming, and please generate a 30-day plan for me to learn Python. Okay, so it has generated and it has told you how you can learn Python. What are the topics that you need to know? So day 1 to day 5, you need to learn introduction to Python, installation of Python, how to run Python programs. What are the data types, operations? All of this I will probably cover after half an hour. Control flow statements, list, tuples. This is exactly similar to how even I teach it in the class when we do Python programming. This is very, very close to that, you see. So how Chat GPT can be helpful in education. If you want to learn something new, Chat GPT is your new tutor. It is your new mentor, right? Then you need to learn a little bit about, okay, data structure algorithms and some programming concepts and some other programming concepts. See, CSS fundamentals. CSS is something we used 5 minutes back, right? And then HTML basics, web development. We are already developing HTML using Chat GPT, although we don't understand it. Okay. It's not a good practice. You need to understand and then you have to do. Just to make it simple, I showed you, but actually you need to know HTML in order to use it from Chat GPT, because Chat GPT can also give you wrong things. Like I showed you, it was not able to generate the image. So I had to use some common sense that, okay, Chat GPT is not able to connect to the image, and I added the image manually. So that type of a sense you will have when you learn it. So it's not an alternate to learning. You need to know HTML, you need to know CSS for this example, you need to know Python, you need to know all data science, you need to work hard and you need to develop your knowledge. After that, Chat GPT can be your helper, right? Please be very, very clear in your mind about this, that Chat GPT cannot be a coder unless a human coder is supervising it. So that should answer your questions on whether it is going to replace data analyst. No, it can help a data analyst. A data analyst can be replaced by another data analyst who knows Chat GPT. That is a possibility. You need to learn. All of us are learning. This is a very new technique. Every day I am learning about it. You should also learn. Everyone should learn. Jobs, with regards to impact on jobs, yes, there are some jobs which are going to go away. But those jobs are going to go away in the same way as in earlier times. For aerial shoots, there used to be helicopters and there used to be cameramen who used to sit on the helicopters and they used to take shots of air view. But today's times, drones are there, right? So those jobs of those people who are flying in helicopters and taking images, those jobs are gone, right? It has been replaced by drone. But the important thing is that it has created new jobs. Now you need engineers to operate that drone, right? So whenever a new technology comes, if like a revolutionary technology, jobs do get impacted. That is the truth of life. All of us have to face it. But the other side of coin is that new jobs get created. There is a demand for a new skill set, right? 6-7 months back, nobody was talking about prompt engineering. Today, prompt engineering is appearing in job descriptions of companies. You need to learn prompt engineering. What is prompt engineering? Prompt engineering is how do you write good prompts to get Chat GPT to do your work. It's something that we are not discussing today. It is an advanced topic. But I'm just telling you that knowing Chat GPT is becoming a job requirement. It's not that Chat GPT is going to replace you. Yes, it is going to automate a lot of tasks, right? Just like I'll give you an example. Earlier days, CEOs of companies used to have an assistant who used to keep track of their meetings, whom they should meet, where they should meet, all that. Today, all of that is happening on Google Calendar. So that assistant is not needed, right? But to maintain that Google Calendar, new jobs have been created to, improve how Google Calendar works. So whenever a new technology comes, jobs get impacted, right? Some of the jobs become obsolete, but new jobs get created. So you need to think in that way that, okay, new jobs are getting created with a certain skill set. I need to acquire that skill set. That is the answer to the question when someone was asking me if data analyst job will be replaced. No, data analyst job will not be replaced. Data analyst will still be there. Data analyst will be using Chat GPT to improve their efficiency and improve their productivity. How they can do that? One glimpse of it you have already gotten in the last 2 hours, right? So let us move ahead. Let us move ahead and let us. I'm a commercial guy. Can I learn coding easily? 110% you can learn coding easily. Okay. Okay. So let us say that I want to write a Python code which will, when I enter a number, the code should tell me whether that number is even number or odd number. It's a very simple code. I don't know. Assume that I don't know Python. Okay. I'll just say write a Python code that will ask a user to enter a number, and if the number is even, it will, and okay, I'll just write it, enter a number and the code will tell if the number is even or odd. Okay, all of you can do this. If I give you a number, you are going to divide it by 2. If the remainder is 0, that means it is even. If the remainder is not 0, then it is odd. That's a very simple logic. Let us write a Python code to achieve this. Okay, so it is writing a Python code. Okay, great. See, it has generated this code. So this is called text to code. I am not writing code. I am writing natural language. That natural language is getting converted to a code. Okay, so you see this. This is a code. So how do I know if it is working or not? So I'll just copy it and I'm going to make it run. Don't worry where I am pasting it and what is happening. This is just to show you how simple it can be. Okay, so I just pasted that code, and what this code should do, this code should ask me for a number. When I enter the number, it should tell me whether it's even or odd. Okay, let us run this code. Great, it is asking me to enter a number. Fine, I will enter a number called 23, and it should tell me that the number is odd. Whether it works or not, let us see. I'll put 23 and I will enter. Okay, it is saying the number is odd. So the code is working, right? I will try it again. I will say 12. Okay, the number is even. So very quickly, within 2 minutes, I asked Chat GPT to generate some code for me, right? Okay, let me ask Chat GPT to do something more. I will say, okay, fine. Let's say that I don't understand this code. Can I ask Chat GPT to explain this code to me? Okay, I'll say, can you explain? It has already explained, I think, below, but I will say, can you explain this code to me in simple way? Because I am not familiar with Python. Okay, guys, if you don't understand the code, please don't worry. The purpose of this is to let you know how simple it can be to get ChatGPT to do some work for you. How you opened the sheet where you pasted the code, see, that is a Python environment. I am not going to go into the detail of that because that is not in the scope, because this is not a Python class. I'm going to talk about Python in a little while, but as of now, please focus on how code is getting generated and whether that code is working or not, right? I want to pursue my career as a data analyst. What is the best course I should do from AnalytixLabs regarding that? Please keep this question in the career section. There is a data science 360 course which you can take. The details are available on the website, but Sabrish is going to be the right person to counsel you on that. So get in touch with him. He will help you. Or you can go to AnalytixLabs website, and you can get information on a 360-degree business data analytics course, right? And everything that we are covering here will be covered. Like it's a full-on course. This is just a glimpse of what happens, right? So we were talking about generating code. And the thing is that I don't understand what is happening here. So I've asked ChatGPT to explain it. So line by line, it is explaining. Okay, I will say that, can you write the above code along with comments so that I can understand? Okay, so the code along with what each line is doing. Okay, great. See, so this line of code, even though you may not be familiar with it, but it is used to prompt the user to enter a number. Okay, then you see if the number is divisible by 2. So this sign is for getting the remainder, and I am checking if the remainder after dividing by 2 is 0 or not. If it is 0, then I am printing that number is even. Otherwise, I am printing that the number is odd. This is what this code is doing, and the explanation is available here. And this is also one common use case. Even I use it in my day-to-day life, because when we write code, we write it and then we feel very lazy to add comments to it. We should add comments because it helps other person to understand, but we feel very lazy. So every time I write a code and I have to submit it, before submitting, I put it in Chat GPT, and Chat GPT is able to understand what the code is doing, and it is able to add comments, and then I am using that. If I do it on my own, it will take me half an hour, 40 minutes. Chat GPT will do it within 1 minute. That is how we improve our efficiency and we improve our productivity. And that is the message that I'm trying to give you. Okay. So I have understood this. Now, for example, and this happened with me recently, where I wrote some service in Python, and then later on I came to know that there is some policy where it can't be written in Python, it has to be written in some other language. So we had to get some other guy who will convert that code. But there were some parts of the code which were data science heavy, which I was not able to explain it. But that was supposed to be converted from Python to another language, right? That can be done very easily here. So I can just say that, okay, you have written this code. Can you please convert this code to JavaScript? JavaScript is another coding language, and I don't know JavaScript. Okay, but let us see if this code gets converted to JavaScript, how it works. And I will not be able to run it because I don't have environment to run JavaScript. But you see, great. It has converted the same code to JavaScript. And if a person knows JavaScript, he will be able to take this code and use it, right? And here also it has added comments. The syntax is different. Here it is saying, okay, prompt the user to enter a number. Here also something similar is happening. It is checking if it is divided by 2. And it is, instead of print, it is using console.log because that is the JavaScript syntax. You don't have to worry about the syntax. Just see that, okay, how it is working. And the explanation is also here. So we are able to take one code and we are able to, convert it to other languages and things like that, which is very, very simple. Next, okay, I'm going to say that write a Python code that will ask user to enter an email ID. If the email is a valid email ID, then show registration success. Otherwise, I want to raise an error. What do I mean by raise an error? Don't worry. It is basically if you if you're filling a form where you have to supposed to enter email address. Email address is of a certain format. You have to enter it in that format. If you enter it in some other format, it will say that it is invalid email. That is what I'm trying to replicate in Python, right? Or if you're entering a phone number, you have to enter 10 digits. You can't enter 6 digits. It will not allow you. So there is some check. That check I want to do in Python, and I want to raise an error of invalid email. Okay. If I have to write this code, it will take me 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Let us see how much time Chat GPT will take. Okay, here is a code. Okay, so it has written a Python function. Let us see how it works. I'm not even reading the code. Okay, I'm just going to go and I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to run it. Don't worry about this environment where I'm pasting it. Just see whether it is working or not. Okay, so I'm entering my email. I will just say rahul@yahoo.com. This is a valid email. If I enter it, it says, okay, registration success. This code works, right? If I just say, okay, I will enter an invalid email. I will say 123 @ and I will not give any .com. So this is an invalid email. If I do this, it is raising an error, which is invalid email. Why? Because this invalid email is what I asked ChatGPT to do, right? If I don't want to raise an error, I just want to print something. I will just say that, okay, I'll take the whole prompt. I'll ask it, okay, in the above code, don't raise an error. Instead, ask user to try again politely. Okay, politely I'm saying. Okay, let us see. It will again generate the same code. And I will copy this and I will paste it again. Okay, let me run it again. And I will say, okay, enter your email. I will say 123 @ something something. And it, instead of raising an error, see here it raised an error, value error. It will not, I don't want it to raise an error. I want Python to tell me to try again or something like that. See, it is saying invalid email, please try it. Right. So this way you can ask Chat GPT to, generate code for you. Once the code is generated, without knowing how the code is working, you can also ask Chat GPT to change it. Now, you should not use this if you don't know Python, right? Because I'm taking a very simple example. Chat GPT is doing a good job. But if you're doing an actual application, Chat GPT will make some mistakes. You need to review the code. Okay. So this is, again, I'm telling you, this is only for demo purpose. I'm showing you that how simple it can be, how ChatGPT can help you. But this is not an alternate to learning Python. Please don't think that, okay, why should I learn Python? ChatGPT is there, ChatGPT will write the code. No. If you don't know what it should be, what is the expectation, then ChatGPT can give you a lot of mistakes also. It can give you a lot of wrong things also. You need to be there to review it and correct it by using prompts. For example, it was raising error. I said, okay, I don't want to raise error. Please do this. So it will save your time. It is for you to save your time. It is not there to replace your work, right? Can we ask ChatGPT to identify and correct an error in the code we have written? Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So you can try that. We can take this code and I can, replace something here. Probably I'll delete this colon here. Okay. Or I will, I will delete this colon here, which will make it wrong. Okay. It will give an error because it is saying that one colon is missing. And I will paste this in Python and I will say whether it is able to correct it or not. Okay. So I will say this is a code which is giving me some error. Can you please find the mistake? See, I don't know whether it will work or not. I'm also trying it in front of you, but I think it should work. But this prompting itself is a task in itself. Let us see if it is able to do it or not. Great. See, it is able to find out. The code you provided has a missing colon after the function declaration. You see, it is able to find it out, right? This colon was what I deleted in my code, because of which I was getting an error. This here, there should be a colon, right? Because of which I was getting an error. The error also is showing that there is an expected colon here, which is basically here. I had deleted that and I pasted that code and it is able to say that, okay, there is a mistake, right? And we are not getting into the nitty-gritty of development, but it can do a lot of things. If you give a code which is taking a lot of time, it can actually optimize that code to make it run faster. But those examples I cannot give you because those are slightly more advanced and complicated topics. You might feel disconnected. So that's why I'm giving you simple topics. But yes, the answer to your question is, if there are mistakes in the code, it will be able to correct it. Can we? Okay. I hope that answers your question, Mansha. Great. So the next thing is that what I want to show you is, I want to show you a quick end-to-end thing that how you can build, like how I showed you with HTML. I want to show you how we can build a small quick application by using Chat GPT and Python. Okay. Again, you will not understand the details of what is happening, but just keep in mind a broad idea of what is happening. I will explain it to you, but don't worry if you don't understand the code. So what we are going to do is, we are going to build a web page. Okay. We are going to build a web page. What will happen in that web page is, you will enter the name of a movie, any movie, and some details about the movie will appear. That is what we want to do. Okay. It seems fair, simple enough to everyone. There will be a web page where I will enter a name of a movie and some details about that movie will appear. Now, in order to build this, what do we need? We need some database. We need a database where details of movies, name of the movies, and the detail of the movies are stored. Okay. There are many such databases which exist in the world. One such database is called OMDB. I think you have heard about IMDb, but there is one database called OMDB. OMDB, let me open it and show you. Okay, OMDB is an open movie database where you can enter some name of the movie and it will generate, it will give you some response. For example, I will just type here Batman and it will search and it will give me some information about Batman here. Okay, in this format. If you're not familiar with this format, don't worry, but just think, okay, there is a title and the title is Batman, year is 1999, there is some rating, when was it released, all this information is provided to us. Now, what we want to do is we want to take this and we want to build our own web page, simple web page, of course, because we don't want to do anything complicated, but something very simple, right? So this is actually called as an API. This database is giving us an API. In the API, if we give the title of the movie, it is giving us a response. Okay, this is one basic. No need to go into detail about what is an API and all those things, but just think about it that this database of OMDB, they have given us one entry point where if we type something, it will go and search in the database and give some response. Where the database is, how it works, all of that, you don't have to know. This is just a simple example of how easily we can develop this. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and say Chat GPT. And in order to access any like a API, you need an API key. API key is like a one-time password, or you can think about it like some authentication, which Open OMDB API guys will give you so that you can access their database, right? And sometimes it is paid, sometimes it is free, sometimes it is free with some, limited usage, something like that. So we can generate some API key. So here there is an option to generate API key. If you go here and if you enter your email address, they will send you, and there's a limit, you see. Limit is that 1000 times you can use in one day. Okay, we will use only 2-3 times, but you can also, use it. So they will give you one API key. The API key will look something like 4 or 5 digits, which they will email you to your email ID. Okay. So what is the plan? What are we going to do? We are going to ask Chat GPT to connect to this database and give us a code where if we give the API key, then it should generate, it should give us something where we enter the name of the movie and details of the movie should appear. That is our agenda first. Second, when we have that code, we will take that code and we will make it into a web page. That will be stage 2. In 2 stages, we are going to accomplish this. Okay. Does it sound interesting to you guys? Any opinion, anyone? This is, I'm trying to show you how ChatGPT can be used to build something. Till now, we were just using ChatGPT in the ChatGPT window. Is everyone with me so far? Okay, has everyone understood what we are going to do? We are going to connect to a database, ask ChatGPT to give us Python code on how to connect to the database. We will ask the database to give us one key. Using that key, we will connect, and then we will get access where we will type the name of the movie and we will get the details of the movie. Then that whole thing, we will create one web page. It's very, very simple. It will take us 5 minutes. But this is just to give you an idea of how the whole thing works. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead. We'll say ChatGPT, okay. Can you generate a code to connect Python code, I will say, to connect to OMDB and show the details and return the details of the movie. Enter. Okay, this is my prompt. Okay. This is a simple task and simple code, therefore I don't have to think much about the prompt, but let us see if it is able to generate. Okay. So it has generated some code. Right now, I'm not verifying whether the code is correct or not. I'm just going to first check it. The best way to check is to run it. Okay. So I am just going to paste this code here. Don't worry if you don't understand this code, but okay. So here I have to add my API key. So let me just go to my email and let me get the API key. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this is my API key, and here in this URL, I need to put my API key here. Okay, it says your API key here. I need to paste my API key. So this is my API key. Okay, guys, please don't misuse this. I have only 1,000 credits. Make your own API key. Please don't copy this one. Okay. Heard ChatGPT is 2 years behind as rules regular put governments. Will ChatGPT still be allowed to develop in a full-fledged way by big techs, or will it remain in experimentation phase? It is already being used in a full-fledged way. It is 2 years behind. It means the data that it has seen is 2 years behind. Okay, so by default, when you ask it, it has information about 2021. It does not know about the latest findings. But when we do it, we can also train or customize the Chat GPT to our own use case. For example, if you are a lawyer, right, and you're working for suppose you're a corporate lawyer for a certain company, that company has its own rule books, right? Chat GPT does not know that rules. So we can give that information to Chat GPT to fine tune Chat GPT where it has become a custom Chat GPT to your company's rules. And then you can ask it that, okay, in my company, what is the policy around so and so thing, right? So all those things are possible, which is what I meant in the beginning when I say it is flexible and fine-tuned, right? It has not been trained because it can be trained once, right? It can be trained again and again. So it has been trained once till the data of September 2021. After that, it does not have the information, but we can provide that information to it, right? You can give a block of text, say that ChatGPT, okay, read this, and then based on that, it will be able to answer your questions. Okay. Coming back, we were at this code and we have added this API key here, and this is the code. Let us just say I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to run it. And it is saying enter the movie title. Okay. So I'll just enter some movie title. I will say Harry Potter, and let us see if it is able to give me some response or not. Wonderful. It is able to give me the response. How is this response coming? What is this code doing? Okay, I don't know what this code is doing, so I can ask ChatGPT to, can you please write some comments on the code to help understand better, right? So let us see if it is able to write some comments. Great, so it is able to write. So this is the URL of this is like the website of the OMDB, and Python is using that to fetch the response. And in that response, we are passing this title of the movie. The title of the movie goes, and it is something, it like fetches in that it is fetching the title, year, and plot. So title, year, and plot is something that we are getting here. Title, year, and plot, right? Guys, please don't be intimidated by all the code that I'm writing. I am not expecting you to understand it, but what I'm expecting you to know is how easy or how simple it is for anyone to use it, right? That is my intention behind showing this, to motivate you and to inspire. Okay, so now this is working fine. This is great. Now what I want to do is I want to convert this to a web page, right? So how can I convert it to a web page? Of course, ChatGPT is going to do it. What I will say, I'm going to use a framework called Streamlit. It's a framework around Python. Don't have to worry about it. I'll just say, write a Streamlit code to make a web page using the code above, where user enters the name of the movie and the details of the movie are shown. Okay. So it will generate the whole code. And if I would do it, it will take me maybe 15-20 minutes to write this code, but ChatGPT is able to do it in a very simple way, quick. Okay. Again, see, it is saying here that make sure to replace your API key, this thing, but which is where here. Okay, it is giving you instructions also, that API key with your actual OMDB API key. Where is the actual OMDB API key? It is in my email from the website people they have sent me, right? And it is also telling me that, okay, Streamlit is a library. If you have not installed it, you have to install it. Don't have to worry about all those things. And it is giving that, okay, how the code is working here. But okay, fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this code and I'm going to go to another of my browser. Where is it? I'm going to go here and I'm going to create a new file here. Okay, I'm going to name it app movie.py. Okay, don't worry about this. Okay, and I've pasted my code here. And I'm going to run this and see if I'm able to generate a web page or not. So I'll just say, right. It should start one web page for me. See, the web page is ready. Are you guys able to see it? Is everyone able to see it? Sabrish, is my screen visible clearly?
Yes.
Okay. So here, this is what we wanted to do, right? And how much time did it take me? It did not even take 5 minutes. Now, what do we want to search? Suppose we want to search about Batman. Okay. Okay. It is giving me some error. Why is it giving me error? I forgot to replace my API key, right? Here I have to give the API key. That's why it is not able to connect to the database. So I will just go back and I will take my API key and I will paste it here. Okay. So see, this is like, you have to think a little bit. It's not that it is going to give you the perfect result. Now, again, I'm going to refresh it. Again, I'm going to type Batman in this web page. And if I click on get details, voila, we got the result. We are getting title, year, and plot. Now, if you want more information, you can of course ask Chat GPT to provide you with little bit more detail, but only that detail which is available in the database. So if in the database name of the actor is also there, you go and check it, and then you ask Chat GPT to also include the name of the actor in the detail, and that will go to the Python, and that will go to this web page, and then when user enters it, it comes here. Now, this is like a simple web page. You can imagine how easily we could build something by integrating Python and Chat GPT. So Chat GPT, what is my end message to you is, Chat GPT is not just this page where you are writing things. You can use Chat GPT to actually build products, build things, build projects, which I will encourage you to do. If you learn Python, at least learn the basics of it, and then try to use it, play around with it, see what happens. Ask Chat GPT to write some code, take that code, ask Chat GPT to explain it, understand it, then you tweak it, and then you build something out of it. And that way you will add things to your resume. And when you are applying as a fresher data analyst or a fresher data scientist, your resume will be much more impressive than other people, because you have used generative AI, which is state of the art, most recent kid on the block, right? Is everyone with me? Okay, so we are now in the final leg of today's session. We have, I think, half an hour left. And what we are going to do now is we are going to talk a little bit about Python. Of course, I showed you some details about Python, but we are going to talk about what is Python, why you should learn Python, and what is the benefit. How right would it be to move this, learn this when someone is already a manager and has 12 to 15 years of experience in data analytics, but using Excel only and not programming? See, there are two aspects to it. One is that no matter how experienced you are and whatever field you are working in, data is going to be of immense help to you. Even if you're not doing the programming on your own, you need to know the world of programming, right? For example, my manager, he is 20 years experienced. I'm giving you my example, personal example. 20 years experienced. He has worked. He does not sit and he does not code. But he has a bunch of people who code, right? And because of his expertise, he's able to manage. And because of his expertise, he's able to develop very good products because he has the knowledge of programming. I'm not saying you should learn programming and you should become an expert at it. Learn programming as far as you feel it is applicable to your domain, right? And once you learn it, you will be able to see the world in a different way. You will be able to automate a lot of things. For example, I'll tell you one example of automation. We're getting some complaint from a user, right? A user will probably write in some slang language. They will write it in improper English. We can use Python code such that that text is coming to Chat GPT, and I'm already given a prompt that for the following text, please clean it, please correct the mistakes. Whatever text is generated, please summarize that and find out key issues. And those key issues are mapped to certain people. Those experts will get those issues. They will be resolved. And once it is resolved, automatically send an email to the customer. See, there's a full cycle. Customer has sent a complaint. It is getting corrected. It is getting filtered. What are the issues? Issues are going to corresponding people. Those corresponding people are responding to it. That response is getting converted, coming together, and that together final message is going back to the customer. Whole thing is automated. Now, if you are a manager who knows about this, you may not know how to write the code for it, right? But if you know the realm, or if you know the possibility of automation, you can hire people to do it and you can guide them. They will write the code, they will do the testing, but you are developing a product which is data centric. You need not do the hands-on coding yourself. Although if you're interested, you should try it. It's very fun and it's very easy also in today's times. And learning Python has many different roadmaps. I'm going to talk about it. You don't have to learn Python as a developer. You have to learn Python as a data scientist. If you're learning Python as a data scientist, at least for the beginning, you don't have to go into the nitty-gritty of it. For example, you use Excel as a tool, right? You have a table and you make a pivot table out of it. You exactly don't know how that pivot table is getting created, but you know how to use that pivot table. This is the example I give to everyone. If you have a car, you need to know how to drive it properly. You don't need to understand how the engine works, right? But you need to be an expert driver of the car. That's what is there. If you want to learn data science, Python is like one tool, which if you master, you are able to do data science in a better way. If you're not interested in learning the nitty-gritty of programming, you are welcome to not learn it. Python has a lot of abstractions on top of it where you don't have to write a lot of code. Many of the things get handled on their own. But based on your 12 or 15 years of experience, that domain knowledge, how do you use that domain knowledge to automate things? That domain knowledge is your strength that someone will not have. A coder will not have that domain knowledge. A coder will have experience in coding. But if you have domain knowledge and you have a little bit of information about programming, you can club them together, give it to a coder, explain it, guide him. He will write the code and whole thing will get automated. And that is like a development by you. So you have to think in that way if you are 12, 15 years experienced. I am a manager in finance operations and I have no prior knowledge of programming, but want to shift to data analytics. How can I do that? And will I be treated as a fresher in this role, or will my prior experience count? It depends. If you are using, for anyone who's experienced, you learn first, you have to learn data scientist as a fresher. When you are learning, don't think about whether you are from finance or marketing. First, learn it. Once you have learned it, you have to think about application of that in your role. So you will not start as a data analyst, but you will start as a manager in finance operations with expertise in data. That is how I think it is going to be. If you are just 2-3 years experience and you want to start as a coder itself, you are willing to do that. But if you are like a manager, I will expect that you have at least 5-6 years of experience. Learn data science and then start using data science in your field, in your day-to-day work, finance, operations, whatever you're doing, where you find data can be used. And you apply that knowledge and you are still a manager in finance, but with data capabilities. It's like a superpower you have now. And then you can guide others and you can help others. But while learning, please consider yourself as a fresher. At workplace, be manager with data science knowledge. What is the possibility of getting a job post during course? Company hire if we have one experience in non-data oriented experience of 9 years. Absolutely. There is a lot of possibility. I have interviewed a lot of people with 6, 7, 8 years of experience. It depends on your dedication and it depends on how much time and effort you have put in, right? There's a lot of jobs of around data science for all level of experience people and in all domains, every domain. Okay. So we are going to now shift and we are in the final stage of today's session. I'm going to go back to the presentation. Which one was it? 1 second. Just give me 1 second. I need to share the right window. Is the full screen visible, guys? Sabrish, can you confirm, please?
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked a lot about the applications of Chat GPT. Now, real life use cases, I think by now you will be able to imagine a lot about where ChatGPT can be used. My experience, like I said, it is being used a lot in customer support. It is being used a lot in text summarization, right? You have a book full of rules. You give that entire book to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT can give you answers. You can ask questions. Okay. Very recently, we developed a product where all of the company's documentation was given to ChatGPT, right? Internal documents every company will have, right? So you give all that document to ChatGPT. So there is a development process using Python. The technique is called as LangChain. We're not going into those details as for today's session, but you create a custom trained ChatGPT, which is also called as fine tuning of ChatGPT. So all the information ChatGPT has, on top of that, you are adding some custom information. And then you have a custom built ChatGPT. That ChatGPT, you can ask questions related to the document that you have provided, and it will be able to give you quick answers. Where is it going to help? It is going to help in customer support. Any customer is asking a question, you will have to read through 20 PDFs or you'll have to search it, but ChatGPT can quickly read the document, make the response, give it to you. You just have to read it, validate it, and pass it on. So that kind of automation is the most useful thing that I'm seeing. Second thing is content generation. For example, if you're an Instagrammer, right? Or if you're a digital marketing person who has to generate Instagram posts for every day, you can use ChatGPT. You can give some information and you can generate. I've shown you how you can generate slides, right? You can also provide, and I generated slides by giving very little context. If you give more context, much more rich creative writing and creative graphics you can create. So it is getting very used in creative writing. It is getting used in advertisement, right? I gave you the example of one ad that I recently saw. It is also getting used to make people more independent. For example, suppose you are a movie writer. Okay, what will happen if you write a movie, or if you are working in an ad agency? Usually what happens, there's a creative writer, he writes, and then there is a designer who takes that brief and creates designs, right? And ultimately that design is getting shown to the client. That is the cycle, right? But now what happens is, for a creative writer, he does not have to depend on the designer, because if he's able to write something, DALL-E or ChatGPT or different generative AI, they can do the work of a designer. They can take that text prompt and they can create designs out of it. And that design can be shown to the client. So everyone is becoming more independent, right? If someone has created a design and someone wants text to go with it, then a designer does not need to rely on a writer. And all of this is for bare metal things, right? This is only for initial stages, like how I made a presentation. It's not actually a final presentation, but it is a starting point for someone to speed up their work. If I'm a creative writer, if I've done something and I want to quickly show it, I don't have to wait for a designer. I can hire the designer later to build much more something better, which ChatGPT can't do. But in the initial stage, I don't have a dependency. These kind of applications are there. Content generation, creative writing, education and tutoring. I just showed you how you can use ChatGPT to tutor yourself or educate yourself, right? Personal assistants, and most important thing in automation. I gave you example of automation, how something comes, it automatically gets sorted, automatically gets sent to different people. You can generate a Zoom meeting, people will join. All of that can be done in an automated way using ChatGPT, right? So that these are some of the real life use cases and applications which I will motivate you, or I will, implore you to please explore and educate yourself. My job here today is to show you the picture and show you the possibilities, right? Okay, so yeah, so that is all I had to discuss about generative AI. Any questions, please put in the chat box. And what more, right? I was already talking about it. Automating day-to-day tasks using Python. So once you know Python, you already know ChatGPT, you combine them and you can automate a lot of things. Creating custom ChatGPT models using fine-tuning, I talked about it. NLP-based data analysis. I think this is an example I didn't give, but I'll show it. But for that you need ChatGPT Plus, which is like a paid version. But you can actually connect ChatGPT to databases. And then you can do data analysis on top of that. Like you can say that, okay, please generate a histogram for me. Please generate a pie chart. Please sort this on the basis of sales. Please, create a line chart, please create a scatter plot. All of those things can be done. But for those things, you need a paid version of ChatGPT. You can connect it. You will need that API key, the API key that I showed you for that OMDB. Similarly, OpenAI will also give you an API key to connect ChatGPT to Python, and then you can use it. Those things I'm not covering today, probably in some other session later. But I want you to know that it is possible. Somebody was asking me about data analysis, and data analysis on the basis of NLP input. That is the key thing here. You do data analysis by writing code, right? But I'm not saying that. You are doing data analysis by writing natural language. You don't, if you have to draw a scatter plot, you have to write a code for a scatter plot. That is different. But you can just write it in English that please make a scatter plot for me. Please make it in red color, like how we have been doing since last 2.5 hours. That is one of the major revolutionary things that is happening in data analysis aspect, right? NLP input based data analysis. And there is so much more application. I can talk about it all day, but we'll also consider the time. We are running out of time. So we'll move to our next topic, right? Anyone having any questions so far? What is LLM? LLM stands for large language model. It is a way of training Chat GPT, right? As a fresher, we asked for experience, what to do in multiple job openings. We asked, you have to create projects, right? You have to show that you are experienced. How do you show your experience? By doing work. You don't need to get hired to do work. You can do work sitting at home. Do something, whatever field you are working in. I showed you how to create a web page. You can go and create a very nice web page and then show it. When they're asking you for experience, you can say that, okay, this is my this is the work that I have done. And for fresher, they will not ask experience, because by definition, fresher is someone who does not have experience. They will ask you for what work you have done. That's not experience. What work you have done means you're not waiting for a job to do work. You're already doing it. You have to show it, build something. Is prompt engineering separate work from? Prompt engineering is basically understanding how to automate things using ChatGPT. Here, the examples that I'm giving you, I'm just typing something and you're getting a response. But in automation, that will not happen. You will write something, you will get a response. On that response, you have to write something else. Then that will give a response. Again, on that response, you have to write something else. It will create a chain, right? How to create that chain in an efficient way, that is the prompt engineering aspect of it. Today, we are not covering that, but I gave you an example of that automation work that I gave you an example. That is a case of a new technique, which is called as LangChain. Okay, where you create a chain of prompts and responses. First, it will change the tone of the language, then it will correct the mistakes. Once the mistakes are corrected, it will summarize it. Once it is summarized, it will take out the keywords. Once it has taken out the keywords, again, it will send the keywords to respective experts. Then the respective experts will give their response. That response will go as a mail to the person who asked the question. So that whole thing has to be in a chain, step-by-step format. That designing that is basically prompt engineering. How to write good prompts, because ChatGPT will not work by any prompts. Examples I'm giving you are simple. That's why you are probably thinking that it is like that. Day-to-day tasks you can do, but when you are doing a very specific job, you need to think about what prompts you have to do. Okay. Okay, good that everyone is excited and everyone is asking questions. We'll move ahead. And the next topic that I want to talk about is Python. What is Python, and how is Python related to data science, right? Guys, has our data analytics and data science both different? No. Please post in Q&A. Yeah, please, all your questions, please post in Q&A. Guys, I hope all of you found the session exciting and all of you got to learn about generative AI and ChatGPT use cases, right? Can you write a yes in the chat box so that I know how many of you found it interesting? Great. So many people. Great. So we are going to talk a little bit about Python in data science. I hope all of you have heard about Python. If you are interested in data science, right, I will say that to start your career in data science, there are two things which you should know. Okay, at least one of these two, and one is SQL and other is Python. Python more so because Python is a universal language, and I will say that Python is such a versatile language. There are so many programming languages, but why are we so biased towards Python? What is so special about Python? I say that Python is so versatile that it is the second best language for every field.